See, it's always me too.
No foul language, man.
Let me drop my phone again.
No.
Bow, bow.
No. Get it all out. Jesus.
Settle down. Jamie's not here, so you have to pull slack.
Yeah.
Whack it all together.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a good one.
Be quiet, Brian.
No kidding.
Settle down, buddy.
Y'all see it live on YouTube?
Nope.
I see a big zero.
It'll be live. It'll be live on the replay for sure.
Yeah. There we go.
There.
It's there. It's up.
Is it?
It's there.
It's taking time to hit down here in South Texas because I haven't seen it.
It's the internet.
It's that dial up. It's that dial up
Yeah.
Starlink you got.
There we go. There's a telegraph in Dearborn, Texas going.
Mm-hmm.
There he is.
Settle down, Matt. Settle down, buddy.
All right, here we go. Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast with your host, Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, Matt with Wacky Works Workshop, Jen with Jen's Turns, Jamie with JP Woodwork, and Jake with Northside Custom Crafts. Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast, episode 70. I'm Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, and today we have Mr. Bryan with Built by Bricker. How you doing, bud?
Good, everybody. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Now, Bryan, give us the long version of how you got started and in this whole craziness.
Sure, happy to. A little bit about myself. I guess I was born in New York, but I've lived in South Florida since I was about 10. Went to high school here and college here, so I've remained here. I met my now wife in high school. We have 2 kids. Growing up, I was always interested in like HGTV. So what I do for a living was I became a realtor. I didn't realize till I was in my 30s. So I realized I think I like the other side more. I like the building on HGTV when they're making stuff for doing stuff. So that's kind of how I started to have the interest of making. And then personally, when I bought my own house, needed to make some furniture. Actually, it was when I was having my second kid, and I wanted to make some furniture. I needed a guest room, so I got having a second kid, so we're gonna have a baby. So now I needed a guest room, so I started looking into making a Murphy bed. And I bought a Craig jig. That was actually my first tool. That was my first woodworking tool. And obviously, I went to YouTube University, just watched tons and tons and tons of videos. I made that Murphy bed, and that turned into built-ins around the Murphy bed, and that turned into an office, and then that turned into my daughter's furniture, and that was all throughout the pandemic. So that was early pandemic, 2020. My son was born in August of 2020, so we were home a lot early on. My wife was pregnant, and so I just started building all kinds of furniture, and then it really turned into something that was an outlet and a good way to just, be by myself and be in my thoughts and a good outlet for myself. So it's hard as you get an adult to find hobbies and even meet new people. That's kind of one of the things I love about social media and Instagram is, I'm in my late 30s now. It's hard to meet new people. Where am I going to meet new people? I work in the garage by myself. How am I going to meet new people? So one of my favorite things about Instagram is the woodworking community and these people that I get to meet that I never would from all over the country and all over the world. So maybe I jumped ahead on there, but I just had to tie that one in. And one of my favorite things about woodworking and why it works for me and my family is because I have an 8-year-old daughter who's nonverbal autistic. And she requires a lot of specialty schooling. And I'm driving 4 to 5 hours a day, taking her to different appointments and therapies and that kind of stuff. So where this really helps me fit in is I can really fit it in where I had the time, whether that's at night or a few hours during the day and that kind of stuff. Whereas the, a conventional 9 to 5 is not really for me. I don't really like people that much anyway. So it's probably better to work in the garage by myself anyway. But that's why it's really seemed to work well for me. So, that's a little bit about my backstory, I think.
Okay.
Cool deal.
Thank you, Bryan. Thank you for being here. For people at home, my name is Jake Thompson from Northside Custom Crafts, and I usually do an icebreaker. My icebreaker for you, Brian, is: do you even own shoes, bro?
I just told you that, I go fit my garage time in whatever I can, and taking shoes takes a little bit more time that, I don't have all the time. I don't know. I guess it's the South Florida man. Like I said, I was born in New York, but I've been here since I was 9. So I guess that's the South Florida in me. We wear sandals all the time.
There you go.
You got steel toe flip flops.
If people don't know, he's referencing in my YouTube video. I had to make sure I put that out there because I knew all the comments were going to mention that on my shop tour that I was wearing sandals. So
you just gotta, you just gotta get a little creative and keep them out of the shoot.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee probably about 98% of the time in my shop I'm in flip flops.
Put it in there. Put it in there, because a lot of times either people will really be nice or they're not going to mention anything unless there's something negative.
Yeah, true.
So just throw them a bone, I guess.
Tee it up for them, huh? Make it easy.
Make fun of how gnarly your feet are. That's my.
I got pretty feet. I don't know about you. I got pretty feet.
He's got pretty feet.
Yeah, Photoshop them.
He's got standards.
Yeah.
If this woodworking thing doesn't work it out, I got the pretty feet to fall back on.
There we go.
You could do the feet finder, but make sure it's not scratch and sniff.
Oh.
Sorry, I had that one loaded up, man.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Jen with Jen's Turn. Brian, thank you for joining us. And apparently it's going to be a fun night. So, I'll ask my question, and then I see that D. Miller had a question in the chat too, so we'll get to his in just a few minutes. But my first question is, I was kind of scrolling through your Instagram and stuff, and you do a variety of projects, and even in your pinned post, you say you like to do a lot of different things. And I do too. I love all the things. So, but a lot of people say that you're supposed to find your niche and focus on that in order to kind of grow and be successful. Do you find that doing, like, you have epoxy work and you have regular woodworking kind of stuff and you have your CNC work, I don't see that it's holding you back any. Do you feel like it is, or do you feel like you're as successful as you want to be at this time?
Good question. Thank you for asking. I would say, growth as far as my small business where I'm physically selling products, it's probably not the best for that, to be honest. Growth as far as my social media presence and that kind of stuff, I don't think it does any harm. Probably does more good because I'm not doing the same thing all the time. It's kind of funny, actually, that you brought that up, because just today I was getting my hair cut, trying to get all pretty for this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And I was talking to my barber, and she asked me, like, what kind of woodworking do you do? And I was like, or what do you make? And I was like, that's a really good question. I just don't know how to answer. I'll make anything, and I do make anything. And that's like one of my favorite things is I'm not making the same thing all the time. It's like same reason why I don't want to sit at a desk all day. Like I just got to be doing something different. I got to be learning and growing. Like I said, everything I've learned is from YouTube University. So if I'm learning a new project, I'm going to go online, watch a few videos, and try to see what someone else did. I'm not copying them by any means, but I want to see like how they did it, why they did it, what made them do this, or maybe why I don't want to do that because I saw how they did it and I want to do it differently. Or now that I'm starting to shoot more of my own YouTube content, I only have one shop video, but my plans are to shoot more YouTube content. Is I'm hoping to fill in some of those gaps where I was trying to search for something and couldn't find it, that I just had to make it up on my own. I like to, fill in some of those gaps on YouTube and make some of my own videos for that. So hopefully that's in my future more.
What I found is I can do woodworking and stuff, but I kind of niche down to resin, and then the people that were following you from woodworking, they don't care about the resin. And then when you do something for woodworking, they forgot that I didn't forget how to do woodworking.
Right.
So it's kind of a rabbit hole. And then Instagram's going to be totally different than YouTube as far as niching and stuff like that. But I guess that's a conversation for later, huh?
The fact that actually you just brought that up kind of like triggered me, is that what really made my Instagram page grow so much is I was doing laser engraving content before, like laser cutting, laser engraving. I got a Glowforge back in early 2020, and I did some woodworking like on the projects I was mentioning on my house before, and I posted that, but nothing consistently by any means. And then I started doing some laser content, and that didn't really do much. So then I switched over to doing more of the shop content. Like if you can see behind me, like I have my big French cleat wall, and I really like making my shop a nice place because I'm in here all the time. So I started doing more content like that. And that was actually where I saw a big growth in my content. So I went from trying to find customers in my laser business to really just finding more people that are doing the same type of stuff that I'm doing and making community. And that's what made my page grow the most. I started posting Christmas of 2022. I decided I was going to post every single day for a year. Every single day for a month. I think that's how I started. And then the month was over and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to keep going. And I was like, I'm going to do it for a year. So I started with about 450 followers that Christmas day. I posted every day for 18 months. I hit the year and I was like, I just don't know how to stop. So I just kept going. I went so far. Why would I stop now? And I just kept going for like about 18 months. And I went from 450 followers to like 25,000 followers. I had a few reels that blew up, and that was where a lot of it came from. I had like a home renovation reel. I was working on my house. I was doing some baseboard work in my closet of my own house. And I accidentally put too much baseboard, so the closet doors wouldn't close. So I had to cut just a little piece of baseboard. So I thought, let me show a cool little tip as a woodworker. I like to use painter's tape, CA glue, and a little block to ride the reciprocating saw up against so it doesn't go all crazy. So let me show that little tape. That video got, like 1 million views on Instagram. I got like 3 million views on Facebook. And it was all people just telling me how silly I was and how stupid I was. That's the wrong way to do it. I'm like, watch the video. It works. It might be the way you do it, or maybe professional. That's what happened. It got into the professional contract. I would never let this guy work on my house. I go, well, it's just my wife letting me work on my own house. So hopefully that's okay with her. I don't think she cares the way that I'm doing it as long as I'm doing it. That's more her problem. So like you were saying earlier about putting the toes in the video, people are going to catch that one little thing, and if that can make a reel go viral, but that can also make your head go crazy. People, your phone blowing up all the time, and it's not for good things. It's not saying, hey, you're doing a good job. It's for saying, hey, you're a dummy. So
There's I have one where I put Teflon tape on a pipe thread, evidently the wrong way, which I don't even, it never leaked, but there's hundreds of comments, and I'm just like, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. I guess all engagement is good engagement, right?
Yeah, some of them you got to block them, dude. You just got to get rid of them. And some cross the line, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, sometimes it's just the way the camera's, depending on how your phone, how you're recording with your phone too, can actually show it backwards, even though you're doing it the right way. And a lot of people don't think about that. And it's like, most of us pretty much know how to wrap Teflon, and they went after him on that. Like it was crazy, but it's just, sometimes you just got to just take it. Cause I've had people respond on videos they go into a whole scientific description, like a book.
Yes.
And, okay. Wow. Even respond, it's just like, never mind. I ain't gonna go.
Yeah, actually, one of my more popular videos was my saw stop tripping reel. It wasn't on my finger; it was on my miter gauge, and I had people accusing me of doing that on purpose for engagement. I'm like, I don't got that kind of money to waste, $300 on a new blade and a new brake, and I'm not that guy. I promise you.
Right, absolutely. On something that might go.
Yeah.
For a hope and a pray.
Question from D. Miller, and I know there's a lot more after this, but we'll start with this one. D. Miller Design says, favorite tool in your shop?
D. Miller, the best beard in the business, that guy.
There you go.
My favorite tool in the shop is probably my CNC. It's also like my newest tool, so it's the most that I'm focused on playing with. But it's replaced. I use it for surfacing, so it's replaced like my small planer and that kind of stuff. And I'm really getting more and more into it. Every time I do a project, I'm learning more and more, and I'm putting it to the next project. I've only had it for 3 months, or probably 4 or 5 months now, but I'm learning how to do the programming and the Vectric, and it's really been a fun process, and it's gotten me kind of like invigorated again. Like sometimes you can hit those lulls, especially over the summer. The kids were home all the time. So I hit a couple lulls. So it was nice to have something to be excited about again. So I think
I'm gonna give your video a little plug there, your shop tour video, and I'm gonna troll you because it's hilarious. So you get out there, you go, "This is my CNC. It's great." you went all the way with it, dude. It was great.
I'll be honest.
So if you haven't seen it, go skip to the part where he goes to his. Well, watch the whole thing, but when you get to the CNC,
well, don't skip to the pad part. Watch the rest of the
part. Yeah. Watch the whole thing, and when you get there,
and make sure you give a thumbs up and subscribe.
You've got some great fake pits in there too. I'm telling you.
Oh, thank you.
You gonna get those other questions first, Jeannie?
Go ahead and ask yours, and then we'll jump in.
Okay. So I have to ask you. You know, I look at your cleat wall back there, your French cleat wall, and I look at the pride that you take in displaying your tools. Can you tell me about that? About the pride that you take in all that, and the extra time, the extra effort that you put into that?
Yeah, sure. I really do enjoy being in a nice space. Like I said, I'm in this space a lot. I actually just got an air conditioner in my shop, which was a huge, that might be my favorite tool as well. That was a huge upgrade. Now I can spend even more time in here. And I got the TV I just put up this week for football. So I might never leave this place.
Watch Dallas Cowboys, right?
No.
No, that navy blue back there is for the Giants, buddy.
Chargers.
So I really get inspiration for being in a nice space. It's a place I'm in all the time, so I don't like to be in a dreary space. And I understand that's not for everybody. A lot of people are like, you're wasting time doing all that, and maybe for them I am, but for me,
it's for you. Yeah.
What I like, I really do like making all these little holders of fun. I take little scrap pieces and make them oh, you're making that out of walnut? I'm like, yeah, most people will be burning that piece of walnut. It's literally this big. Relax. It's going to be okay. I'm going to make a nice little holder out of this. I'm going to make a little live edge olive wood holder back there for my mallet and, stuff like that. It makes me feel nice. I don't know.
Yeah.
FYI.
It's Versace, Gucci for, it's my shop.
Yeah. FYI, all those little projects back there make great YouTube videos. People love shop projects. Yeah. Just so you know.
I like that. Very much suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's always nice and refreshing to see somebody that takes pride to take time to organize their shop and do things like that. I eat that up. When I watch stuff like that, I just love it because like you do, I get ideas for my shop and I'm in probably, what is it? The 5th year of trying to finish my new shop, and I still haven't. Why are you putting your head down, Matt?
Oh, I had a little sneeze going.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's going around.
But I'm going to ask you that something really near and dear to your heart, and that is the autism deal that y'all do, and I want the auction, and y'all do that every year. Are y'all going to do that every year? How can you explain a little bit to the listeners what goes on with that?
I appreciate you asking that, Joey, and I appreciate you bidding and winning one of those auctions, Joey. So the month of April, me and my buddy Andrew from 2511 Woodworking, he also has a nonverbal autistic daughter. Pretty interesting. I started working with him on a random project. I made a fantasy football trophy. For you guys that like fantasy football, I hear Joey's really bad at it.
Horrible.
So we actually made a football trophy together just randomly. He was following me. He does wood turning. I didn't know a lot of wood turners at the time, and I asked him to help me. So we formed a relationship there. Turns out we both have a nonverbal autistic daughter, kind of a random coincidence. So we've become friends over that and bonded over that. So in the month of April is Autism Awareness Month. It's a month where you raise funds and obviously awareness for, it's hard to explain exactly, but the, what's the best word? Giving people a voice that don't have a voice for themselves. So a lot of these kids, they understand what's going on, but they can't verbalize it, right? So a big thing they use for verbalization are iPads and laptops and that kind of stuff. So they always need money for that kind of stuff. And a local school that is an autism school, that's what they do. It's a complete school for that from pre-K through 25, I think. They really do a long job, and they're opening another school in the area, which is great because there's such a limited space for this school that we raised these funds for, you know, there's 100 kids trying to get 3 or 4 spots. Like there's just not enough spaces for them and not enough teachers. So they're opening more schools. And anyway, so any kind of money we can raise for them, we do positive. So in the month of April, we decided to do, because of most of our followers are other makers, we decided to make maker themed items and we auctioned them off. So each week, the first week was we made 3 or 4 sets of saw stop handles. So I made the blanks for them with the wood and the epoxy. I sent them over to my friend Andrew and he turned them all out and made some beautiful saw stop handles. I think that was one of the ones that Joey won, was the saw stop handles. So we made like a 3-piece matching set, some resin and wood and some just wood. We made push sticks. We made, geez, I'm drawing a blank now. But we made a couple of different items. So every week we auctioned off items and we made, I think we raised just under $2,000. It was like really close, like 1960. And everyone was trying to throw me $40 at the end. I was like, nope, we didn't get 2,000. That's fine. We didn't know what we were going to hit this year. So hitting almost 2,000 was amazing. And they said they'd be able to buy 3 laptops with that. So they were over the moon with that.
Nice.
So we plan to do it again next April as well. And hopefully we can make it bigger and better the next year. This year, it was kind of, I don't want to say a last minute things we had talked about and planned it. But now that we kind of see how the first year went through, hopefully we'll be able to make it even better next year.
Do you guys have some like auctions for stuff, or is it or like not made stuff, but like products? Could you do that too?
We just auctioned it through through our Instagram, like comment. We'd say like we'd have it open from Friday to Sunday. So we did that and we did it for the whole month. But no, year round, we don't have anything, but maybe that's something that we should look into as well.
Well, I mean, like
products.
During that month, you have stuff that people made. Do you have like companies could give you stuff that you could auction off, or winners could be a raffle or something like
that? We had some few other makers that offered to give stuff, and we did. We auctioned off some nice cutting board. Another maker gave us. We offered a few other things that other makers gave to us, and we actually auctioned those off and add them to the things that we had already made. But yeah, next year we'd like to get some companies involved and make it big. Any way to make more money for these kids, we'd love to do that.
Nice.
Awesome.
We'll keep in touch.
We have a little bit of a platform here, and I'm very happy to use it for something good.
Yeah,
you'll have some molds next year.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Thanks. Appreciate you.
Let's do a question from the chat real quick. Says Lawrence Scroll Saw Works says, how do you guys and gals get what your projects are worth? I'm not good at negotiating prices. Could you sell? Yeah. How do you determine what you're going to sell your stuff for, Bryan?
I am really good at making and really bad at selling.
It's a trend.
That sums me up right there. I'll be honest. You know, I walk through Target with my wife and I see a cutting board for $5 and I just want to pull my hair out. I can't afford the oil to put on that cutting board for $5. Right. How are you seeing? So how do you compete with that? You don't. I mean, the only thing you can do is the only thing I do is I do custom things. So I look for custom people that are looking for specific items. And again, I'm not the best at selling. So I'd love to hear what some of you guys have for that.
I will put in there, and I've struggled many times, and I think you just got to know what you're worth, and you got to set that price and go with it. Like you're saying, everything's custom, and it takes a lot of time and resources, and you got to charge what you're going to charge, and don't try to compare yourself to anybody. You can go out there and look and see what other people are charging. At the end of the day, you've got what you have to make, and that's what you need to stick with. And if there's somebody in there trying to lowball you, you just need to say next and move on. That's just not your right customer. That's just not your right clientele. And I've learned to do that over the years. And you know, you're in this to make money, so you need to stick to your guns. You know, you try to compete, just like the 3D printing stuff. That's one of the biggest things that I do. And when you go out there, there's a lot of people that do it, and there's going to be stuff, just like you say, you go to the store and you see that $5 cutting board. Well, I can go onto Etsy or platforms and I can see track saw holders for $5. And I'm like, how are they making money? And that's with free shipping. And I was like, there's just no way. It's not even worth doing it. So I set my prices, and my prices there, and they sell. And it's gonna, it's gonna come in. And when the people get this and they see the quality, then they're gonna be like, okay. And then they, those are repeat customers, and then the word gets out and it starts moving. So you know, it's a hard thing to do to set that price, but you just got to know what you're worth and just go with it and stick to your guns. That's my 2 cents worth, you know.
I got 2 cents. You're on the right track with your social media following. You're doing right. You have a positive page. People want to follow you, and they're going to want stuff. It's not going to happen overnight. So you just keep doing what you're doing, and the people want stuff from you. And you have your site. If you're going to look at the stuff that you sell, it's going to be the stuff that it's going to be the people that follow you, not how Google found your site. That's not going to be how it works. So I would say just keep doing what you're doing. Price it. There's always a number where you go, if it's $99, you go, no, I'm not selling for that. If it's $102, you go, yeah, that's pretty good. So just stick to that, and your followers are your strangers on the internet are going to be the ones that hook you up. It's not going to be friends and stuff like that. They want a friend deal. I always tell friends, I go, give me a buddy deal. I said, a buddy would pay full price.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, there's my 2 cents.
My 2 cents. I figure out the cost of all the materials that I'm going to do for that. Don't matter if it was a jig, if it was something extra, something I had to build that whole entire thing. I figure up that cost, I multiply it by 3, and I add 30%. That's it. If it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. I'll let it sit there because you got to know your worth.
Just don't make 30 of them first.
No.
Oops.
Yeah, no. That's how I figured it up. It's usually I do one-offs on just about everything. So, except for like pen blanks, stuff like that, we'll do batches of pen blanks. But when it comes down to like cutting boards or bowls, stuff like that, yeah, I do 30%. So I don't do the cost of, I hollowed it out and now it's just this much material. No, there was that whole material was sitting there when we started. That's the cost.
Yeah.
So
mine is kind of a mix of all your guys thrown together. You know, if I'm doing laser work, then what's the cost of my sheet goods? I figure it out per square inch. How much did I use? How much do I charge for that? Or, you know, am I turning cups? What's the cost of each cup? What's the going rate on Etsy or just in the market in general? And find the sweet spot from there. So
It's tough. That's
now you know
always a
everything.
hard
Now
thing.
you know everything you need to know, Brian.
Yeah.
All
There
the
you go.
secrets. All the secrets.
Jake, do you want to ask a question or do you want me to?
Go ahead. Go in the chat. Buy me some time. Just kidding.
Mama T. Hillary says, how hard was the Murphy bed to make and how long did it take you to make it?
So I would say actually it wasn't that hard as far as do it. It was it's a queen size Murphy bed, so it's large sheets. I think it was like 7 full sheets of plywood it took to make the whole thing, maybe 5. And it's a big project. But I bought the kit off Rockler, so I bought all the hardware off Rockler, and it actually told you like what sizes to cut everything. It's a great beginner project. 2 people preferably to have, but a great beginner project. I even made it with just a circular saw at the time. I didn't even have a table saw or anything. And the pocket jig was really key. I mean, pocket holes that all together, and yeah, it's been great.
sounds like a project like somebody and their mom could do together.
Could be.
Matt is volunteering, Jake.
I think that was an indirect question. That was an indirect question to kind of get put on Jake's to-do list, huh?
No hablo. How about no?
Jake's gonna be building a Murphy bed soon.
There we go.
Nah, Mom knew, but she knows better than to fish for stuff like that. She'll get a bowl or something. You know?
He hasn't done it. He needs a Murphy bed.
Real quick, we'll get JP in here, who's too sick to be on the show, so he's trolling the chat. He says, hey, all apologies to Brian for not being in there in person to ask this, but are you any closer to getting that Powermatic Planer up and running?
He's fired.
Well, thank you for watching my YouTube video. I appreciate that. So he's talking about, I got a Powermatic Planer. I went off of Facebook Marketplace. I found a jointer. So I went to go pick it up from this guy, and he had a planer in the back of the shop. And he's like, I haven't even listed this yet. You want to take a look at it? And I was like, all right. And I went to the back, and it was like a 15-inch PH15 Powermatic Planer, which are thousands of dollars. And he sold it to me for $400. So I was like, yeah, I'll take it. Like, I didn't want it. It was like weighed like 1,000 pounds.
$400.
Woo.
It weighs like 1,000 pounds. Like, it's the most heavy cast iron Powermatic. You know how they make those. So it just needed, it's 230 volt. I don't have any 230 volt in my shop except for my hot water heater. So I figured that out, but I needed to get new switches for it. So I bought a new switch online. The start and the stop switch. The stop switch was the same, no big deal. I swapped it out. The start switch was different. And that's basically where I stopped because I'm afraid I'm going to blow something up. 230 volts and me don't necessarily mix very well. So if there are any South Florida electricians around that want to come and help me out, let me know. I would love to get that machine up and running, though, because that'll be a monster machine. Right now, I'm using like a 12-inch rigid. That's been fine. But that monster machine there, I really want to get it up and running.
Yeah.
And that's a steal. That was a good deal on that. That is
joined for $300, and I got that planer for $400. It was like, but I'll be honest, I looked for 18 months probably for that joiner. I mean, I was looking forever, not for that particular joiner, but just for like a freestanding joiner. I didn't want a benchtop model. I was looking forever, and I just luckily found it one morning. I sent the guy a message, and I was like, you're probably getting 100 messages right now, but I'm a small business out of my small shop. I'm going to get it done. I'm not going to try to just buy it and flip it and sell it to somebody else, try to make $1 off you. Like, and that resonated with them. The guy was closing down his business that he had for like 40 years. He was like a real legit cabinet maker. So he said that resonated with him, and he held it out for me and went over there. And then he sold me that other tool for quite cheap too. So being nice helps. That's a good tip for everyone. Just be nice in general. It just helps.
Yeah.
Life's easier that way.
It's funny how you run across things like that. You know, back in the day when I bought the Powermatic 66 table saw I have, it's just one of those deals, a cabinet shop selling out stuff. And I walked in there and he, showed me the saw, and I bought it. And he's like, hey, would you be interested in a open-end drum sander? And it was a Performac 1632, practically brand new. He used it like a few times and didn't like it. And I'm like, well, depends. How much do you want for it? And I think I paid like $50 for it.
Oh my
He said
goodness.
$50. And I was like, at the time I kind of knew, but didn't know. And then once I got home and I looked it up, and I was like, that was a steal. Cause that, at that time, $50, I think those things were worth probably like $800-900, probably maybe a little bit more at the time. Now, you know how much they are. And it's funny how you run across deals like that in it. Another one that came across years ago was a 15-inch Grizzly planer. And a gentleman had passed away, and his daughter was selling it, and they were selling it it was brand new. The poor guy, I think her dad got to use it maybe twice. And she wanted $500 for it. Brand new. And of course I called her right away, and I said, I'll take off. Cause I was like maybe 45 minutes away. I'm on my way. And she's like, I already promised it to somebody. And I'm, I gave him my word, and I said, well, if he doesn't buy it, you call me tomorrow and I will go over there. But it's just those things, finding those good deals like that. It's crazy.
That reminds me of that meme. You gave $800 for that. You're stupid. So I guess that'll take me to my question is, obviously you just told us about buying stuff off Marketplace or finding it used, and then you have the option to buy new. Obviously there's a choice there, or maybe since you're an internet celebrity now, people are just giving you stuff. So that was a joke, but the rest of it is like, would you rather buy new sometimes, or when do you decide what to buy new and what to buy used?
I'd rather them give it to me. That's an option.
Me too, buddy.
Choose that one every time. I've always looked, I live in South Florida, and actually like woodworking is not very popular down here. I mean, that could bring you to like talking about, I know it's not your question, but like buying lumber. I probably much buy all my lumber online and have it shipped here. To South Florida, there's definitely no lumber yards. There might be a few warehouses where people buy stuff in bulk and have it shipped out and sell it out of their warehouse.
You're preaching to the choir on that one, buddy.
Is that right? Same there? Okay.
Jake, they don't have trees. They don't even know what
tumbleweeds.
trees are.
We have palm trees. We're not making anything with palm trees. So the same thing, woodworking is just not as popular down here. Like there's some cabinet shops, but like woodworking is not as popular. So it takes me a while to find things on Marketplace. But when I do, I definitely try to snag it. But like I said, it took me 18 months to find that one. But most of my tools are either used, or my saw stop was probably the one tool I bought new. And I would say that's probably the best investment in me that I ever made. I have little kids around. My daughter has special needs. Things happen. Accidents happen anyway for anyone. It's definitely worth it, in my opinion. That was the one thing I made sure that I saved up for. And I was like, this is the one tool I'm going to buy new. But always look on Facebook Marketplace. I mean, especially if you can find someone who's, like Joey was mentioning, that's closing down their shop, or older, that, really took it. This guy, he not only gave me sets of blades for everything, he gave me double sets of blades for everything. He had marked down the last time he sent them out for sharpening. Like, that's the kind of people you got to find. Obviously, they're not everywhere, but man, if you can find someone like that. He gave me his phone number. He's like, there's a problem, give me a call. Like, if you can find the good people that took care of their stuff, that's where you need to find it.
Yeah,
I actually signed up for the Georgia Wood Guild, Woodworking Guild, just because they do, like, if somebody passes away, they do an auction for all of their tools.
Wow.
And I wanted to be on that list, and that was the only reason I got on the Woodworkers Guild.
That's horrible. That's horrible, Matt.
Matt.
That could be truth, but just don't say it out loud.
Get him, Jenny.
Like skimming the obituary. Oh, you want me to do it, Matt?
So
I mean, I'm like the youngest. I'm 49, and I'm the youngest guy on the thing. They're like 65, then like 80. I'm like,
Well, they're not getting your tools.
no.
Well, it's funny though that they put something on one deal that I'm part of, and it was like they discovered the mecca of Festool. This guy was again, we're getting on the morbid deal here, but a gentleman passed away, and it was in San Antonio, and I missed the deal by 3 days. Had I have seen that, everything in that man's shop was immaculate just from the photos. I was zooming in, and it's just like, oh my God. I mean, everything was put in its place. All the sustainers. I mean, he had everything. And it was just like, Jesus, man.
How inconvenient of him to die on the wrong day for you.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Willing to travel for festival, though, 100, 200 miles, doesn't matter.
I'm gone.
Those festival
I'm taking
deals
days off. We're taking a week's vacation. We're going to go shopping.
Come on, honey. We're going.
I'm cashing out a week's worth of vacation so that I can buy it.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I did buy a festival tool on Recon, thanks to our buddy Joey down there posting it on a story one day. Hey, you got to check out this Recon website. I was like, oh, let me check it out. Boom. Went on, found the domino immediately. I was like, I cannot not buy this now. So thanks, Joey. Appreciate that.
He got me for sander.
Me too. I think I've gotten I think I've gotten some other people too there. Well, they tell me if you ever see this, and I'm like, oh, and it's on there. And I love it when they open the whole thing up. It's like, woo, it's party time when you can go to everything, and it's like you start going, and it's like that's when I get those pictures of my wife sending me pictures, and what's this? And I'm like, I don't know. They gave it to me. They gave it to me.
Yeah, I couldn't eat the rest of the week, but the sanding was awesome.
Yeah. Just couldn't pass it up. Just like what happened to me today. Just one of those deals that it just happened to have to pop up on my phone when she was looking at the phone. Can't get away from me.
I can't remember, Jake. Did you ask your question?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question.
Okay.
It was awesome.
Okay. So, your geometric wall art that you did, that's convertible.
Yes.
Love that.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you came up with that idea?
That's actually funny because I started making that like at the beginning of woodworking, like probably 2020. I started making the actual wood wall art part. I just, got into it through YouTube, found a video one day. I was like, oh, let me just make that. And I had that made for 3 years, just sitting on the side of my house, like, in the side of my garage or whatever. And I was like, that would make a good, like, kids table for, Thanksgiving or, the extra table you need. But, like, I don't want to store it all the time. Like, so I thought about how that could be like a dual function thing. So I found these legs on eBay, I think. and they're hairpin legs, so they're not the best. So I got to probably find better legs for that, but they fold up really nice. And I just made the frame a little bit thicker, so when it goes back on that wall cleat on the wall, you can't see it. It just looks like a nice piece of wall art hanging up there. Yeah, it came out pretty nice.
It did come out really nice.
It's funny how you start something like years ago, and it's just like what made you stop it and what made you pick it back up again. But I did, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
So I did watch your video on YouTube, and I have to ask you about your video on YouTube about your conglomerates of dust collection systems that you have.
Yes.
Called Dust Corner.
That was not well planned out, I guess, but I accumulate things, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I probably have about 5 different dust collectors at the moment. I have like one just for the miter saw, so every time I turn that on, that comes on.
Mm-hmm.
I have one in my main workbench that feeds my my router table. That was off of a YouTube video. Shop Nation, I think, we'll give him a shout out. Why not? So that my workbench is from him. I bought his plans and made a workbench out of that. And so I got a dust collector in there that does the router table. And then on both sides of the workbench, there's ports to hook up. I have another Facebook marketplace. I found a dust collector and a dust separator, which is terrible. The jet dust separator is absolutely terrible. It gets clogged every single time I use it, no matter what I'm putting through there. It's terrible. Don't get it.
Shout out, Jet.
I have other Jet tools, but that one's not the one. That dust separator is not the one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just keep collecting them as the years, and then I have my dust separator hooked up to my boom arm, so it's hooked up to my Festool sander, and I use that for like my track saw and stuff, and it's got the boom arm that I can hook up to different things. So yeah, quite a few different dust collectors I've accumulated over the years, and that's only my little small 2-guard garage shop. So not like I got a big spot. Yeah, I got a Harbor Freight one as well. That was the first one I bought, the 1.75 Harbor Freight, and that's got the blue hose that gets hooked up to pretty much everything.
Giving Jake a run for his money on the number of dust collectors he's got.
You're not even close, buddy. You're not even close. Just keep on doing what you're doing.
I can aspire. Okay.
I have a sickness over here, and it's gonna get worse.
But your lungs will be clean.
Oh yeah.
So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some investment into some shop vacs too. That boy. Oh my goodness.
I love it.
My question is going to be, I've always admired them, but the Feld House Woodworks cutting boards, you made one. I want to know how difficult are those things to make, because that looks pretty involved.
So not to cut you off, but I actually did not make that. So that was someone that donated that someone donated that for our April auctions for the Autism. My buddy Rich from Unknown Woodworking, give him a shout out. He made that, and he actually just made a whole bunch more. He does a lot of children's charities auctions and stuff like that, and he just did a beautiful one for where he lives locally, like a live one in person. And he makes all kinds of those Feld House, I think that's what they're called, cutting boards. Absolutely beautiful, and we donated that, and that raised a few $100s for our April Autism auction. So shout out Rich.
Yeah, I love those.
Those things are nice. So I was like, man, I've always wanted to try one, but it's just, they look pretty intense.
Think we have somebody you may be familiar with in the chats. Julie says, "Hi, Brian." Saw a while back. I think that she's referring to the closet project that you told us about.
Yeah, so I started that a while back. Let's not say how far back, but a while back. I guess I need to get finished on that too, huh? I tore it down real fast. That was easy. That part was easy. The demo, I'm real good at that. I can destroy things. So yeah, I need to finish that out so she's got a place to put her shoes and her stuff. Yeah, thanks, honey. Appreciate that.
You can't leave her hanging.
Appreciate.
Got to finish the closet.
They just do it. That's what it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, you're not supposed to tell the kids you're going to Disneyland until you're in the parking lot.
That's a true story.
That's the saying. You're a liar, Dad.
I've actually never heard that analogy, but I understand it very well, and I've used it, so now I'm going to use it. I appreciate that one.
Yeah. I'm here for you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Mine likes to give me a lot. So it's like when we start projects, I give her a time frame, and she's like, "So about a year, right?" So it's about gonna be at least double of what I say, and I'm like, "No, it's not gonna take that long." And that's when you get the eyes rolling and just walking off like, "Yeah, it is."
They know what's up.
Yeah, see, finishing that closet is not going to make us any more money. So it's like, oh, I'll get to it, but I'll get to it.
And then the question always comes up: what are you going to have to buy to do this? What kind of tools are we looking at? And, so there's a lot of things involved there, and it's like nothing. I have everything.
So I think I've figured out the key to get Joey to finish a project. So for Julie and for Jennifer, if she watches back later, my theory is you ladies, turn it into a YouTube challenge or an Instagram challenge to where they have to finish their project. Joey built a whole office extension in 30 days. You guys, was it 30 days or 60 days? Anyway, it was a short amount of time compared to these 3-year projects that never get done.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how long the challenge was. It got done in the last 2 weeks.
She had her doubts. She's like, "Are you sure you're going to be able to do it?" And I'm like, "Absolutely. It's going to get done." And I had no choice. That had to get done because I tore this whole place apart. It's done. That part's done. This whole inside here still hasn't. It's getting there. Let's just say it's going to eventually get there.
YouTube challenge is the key.
Speaking of YouTube, you have the one video, and I guess a 2-part question: what was keeping you from doing YouTube, and what gave you the push to do the YouTube?
Wow, that's actually an excellent question. I don't know if I have the greatest of answers, but maybe what gave me some of the push is I'm starting to get some sponsors now through my Instagram because I have some followers, and I did speak to some of them, and they did mention that they're looking for more of like a YouTube presence, and that they think that would be good for me. Now, that was probably a year ago. They told me that honestly, and I just posted that video 2 weeks ago, so I'm not sure what still took me that long to really do that. But I thought it was good information, and I've always, YouTube is what I like. I enjoy consuming the content on YouTube. Like, I don't have cable at my house. I watch YouTube. Like, I have apps for my kids. They have Disney, and I watch YouTube. So that's what I like to consume. And even when I make like my reels, a lot of my reels used to be like, maybe if I'm doing like a bigger project, I do like multiple reels because I just like showing the intricacies of doing all these little things. So that's kind of like the YouTube mentality of showing every step instead of just showing like the before, middle, after, like a quick reel, showing the whole entire process. So I think that's something that I actually enjoy. And after making that first video, I kind of had some really good feedback from some people, probably just being really nice to me, but they pumped my ego up enough to like to continue to do it, at least give it a shot and keep going. So I went out and bought like a nice camera. Sorry, honey, she's watching. Thanks, guys.
Honey bunny.
What were we here for?
That was my birthday present to myself. So went out and bought a nice camera, and I'm hoping to put some more content and some better content. And actually, I had a couple of friends reach out and told me, hey, you should be like doing this, shooting on this thing and this speed and this thing. I was like, I don't know what any of this stuff means. So it helped me to look it up and start learning some, at least the basics to get me going.
Nice.
Well, just 2 cents and then I'll shut up. I do my videos on my camera, on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Just on my phone.
Right.
Free editor. So don't let get the equipment and stuff cripple you into not doing it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just get her done.
Sure.
Then you'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying you had to have a nice camera, but
Right.
but I was shooting in like HD on my phone and realized I should have been shooting in 4K because it has that capability. So why wasn't I? So that was like a good tip someone gave me just on my own phone to go through some of those settings. And I wanted to have a separate camera, so I wasn't always using my phone to do everything because I was literally shooting. I shoot every single thing I do, so it's nice to have another option to film on and still be able to use my phone.
That is kind of a pain when I'm filming and I'm getting messages or phone calls. It's like,
yeah, sure.
Okay, so
especially when you're blowing up or people yelling at you for doing something silly.
Cut your fingers off.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Bryan, you mentioned that you had a glow forge laser back in the day.
Sure.
Do you still have it? Still use it, or are you gonna switch to using, I think the Shark CNCs can add a laser component, right?
They absolutely can. Yep. And hopefully, because that will give me a bigger bed. Because right now the Glowforge is only like a 10.9 inch, like actual usable space is like 10.9 inches by whatever, like 18 or something.
Yeah.
It's very small. So that would actually give me some more usable space. So that would be nice. But I've always made the Glowforge work, to be honest. I've learned like some of the tips and tricks and like the magnets to keep the door open and for things that are bigger. And I've just always been able to make it work. So I really love that because it really gave me like a door into a lot of stuff. Because at first I thought I liked doing the lasering as kind of its own thing, but then I realized I really liked to incorporate the laser into my woodworking, whether it be making templates, which is one of my favorite things to do for projects. Like figure out now I have a CNC that can help me do that, but the laser really got me into making all kinds of templates. And then obviously doing like lasering on boards and then selling like ornaments and that kind of stuff. So when I say I make things, I really, really do just run the gamut of making absolutely everything.
Nice.
So tell me about the experience of having your son in the shop with you, and what projects have you all built together?
So not much. My son's he just turned 4 last week, so he does come out and kind of hang out with me. He's got his little spot. He sits up on my stool, my workbench, and I give him a few little things. I try to give him sanding and stuff. His attention span's still a little short, but he does like just the idea of being in with me. Sometimes he'll just come in here and like bring his tablet and just sit on the floor, like he just wants to kind of like be with me and around me in this space. I did for Christmas buy him his own little workbench, and he really loves that. Every time someone comes over, he goes and shows it, shows his workbench. Or if he sees me, comes out to the garage, sometimes he'll run and grab his little power drill or his little hammer and like come out with me. So he's definitely showing the interest in it. So I'm really hoping that continues for sure.
Good. That's cool.
Nice.
So what's the next tool that Bryan would love to have in the shop? What would you like to get in there that you're missing that you think would help you out?
I mean, you might laugh, but I'm going to say a dust collector, probably.
I might laugh. I'm going to laugh.
That Harvey dust collector, man, I got my eye on that bad boy. That would fit real nice under my table saw over there and do some real good for the shop. And maybe I can downsize. I got a small shop, so maybe I don't need 6 dust collectors, but maybe that can help me downsize some of the other ones. But I guess if not that, maybe a drill press. I do have like a cheap Ryobi Home Depot drill press that's the job done for me for years. But I guess if I had to update one, it would probably be a nicer, maybe freestanding drill press.
Shout out to Harvey there. This gentleman is an influencer, so he could probably put that one right underneath his bench top and
please, Harvey, hit my line.
Get you some videos out there. There you go.
Line, please.
Shout out Harvey. There we go. I think we got time for another round here, Bryan. And mine's going to be, we all have Instagram accounts as yours. Yours is obviously growing, and we could all learn from you. So I want you to tell me one thing not to do and one thing to do to get success on Instagram.
All right, I'm going to tie that into like a little bit, maybe like how like to like approach different brands too, as like you're getting more followers, if that's okay. The consistency is everything. So like I mentioned, I started posting every day around Christmas of 2022. And it wasn't just posting. It wasn't like I just posted every day and just kind of like left. I would spend an hour to 2 every day. And that sounds crazy. Like I was like, God, who's got that much time? But like just throughout the day. And that was just commenting and liking. And I think pretty much anyone that like is like one of my core followers, they'll know that I'm very engaged in the community. I'm always commenting, liking, follow along on people's stories. And it's starting to get a little much now that I have quite a few followers. It does get a little bit harder to do that, but I just, what I like to do, I like the community part of it. So that's why I like growing. So, and tying that into always being consistent with, commenting, that kind of stuff. If you're trying to grow into like getting relationships with brands or companies, definitely start following and engaging with their stuff. If you look at a lot of brands, they don't, quite a few brands, they don't have a lot of engagement on their posts. Like, I happened to look at it. I hope it's okay. But I happened to look at a Delta post earlier today, and I've worked with Delta, and they had like 6 likes and 1 comment on her. Like, go and like it, go comment, go interact, go engage, so that in a couple months when you hit up Delta, say, you can go to them and, and they'll actually remember you. Oh, I see you. This guy's commenting. This person's commenting and engaging and being involved. And well, if he's doing this for us, then maybe he's involved in other things. And that's what they want. They want the community engagement. So that's definitely my tip, is just to always be consistent and involved. And people like they'll do it and they'll do it for like 3 months and then they'll kind of like get burnt out and give up. I get it. Everyone's different. Everyone's got different things. But for me, it was not giving up. It was just keep going and being consistent and keep trying. I just mentioned I got a mini split. I had to deal with them, Toso Direct. I had asked them like 4 months ago. I reached out to them and they just said no. It was basically just a no. Okay. I didn't stop. I kept asking them. I emailed them other things, and like 6 months later, they said yes. So, like, if you're consistent, don't be pushy, harassing, or annoying. But if you're polite and persistent, and you can show how you can bring them value. Another way I've worked with brands is I've reached out after following, commenting, reaching out to them, asking them to try one of their products. Taking that product, making a nice reel out of it, and showing them how you can bring value to that. So if you have a reel that does well, and to me, doing well is views, I guess, but you can't always control. I mean, you can't control views. Views doesn't make sense. To me, what doing well is that post had a lot of engagement. It had a lot of likes. It had comments. People were sharing it. They found it to be interesting. You can prove that. You can show how many times it was saved, how many times it was shared, and that kind of stuff. And that's what's important to me, because that's important to the brands, because you're pushing their brand better. So if you can prove to them that you can do something, then that makes them want to work with you. So people ask me that all the time. So I wanted to make sure I fit that in, is just be consistent, reach out, but you always got to be engaging. Just comment, like their stories, put interactions on their stories, like be out there and be engaging.
Well, some people they'll reach out to a company and they haven't even used their stuff. And that company's like, I got 10 other people that use this stuff and could do, and you're just asking for handouts. So don't be that guy.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Be engaging, follow, talk, comment, be engaging before you ask for things. Don't ask for things and then say, oh, I'll do this. No, show them how you're going to do it.
Yeah. There you go. Good advice.
Well, real quickly, since you brought up Delta, I just want to say that I saw your reel on getting your new cruiser.
Yes.
And other than the fact that it has all the amazing blue. How is it working for you?
Great. So I went from an old Ryobi, which was probably like, my second tool ever. It might have been like just after the Murphy bed. So I had that Ryobi for 5, 6, 7 years, which was terrible. Lived on the floor. It still had the original blade from 7 years ago. So the new Delta has been an amazing upgrade. I built my entire miter saw around it, which was perfect because it fit underneath my French cleat wall. But one of my favorite things about the miter saw is I was able to donate my old miter saw and a bunch of old tools. I had like a bunch of old circular saws, some jigs, like router circle jigs. I have a friend, I'll give another shout out on here, PJ Fetcher. Some people might know him. He is on Instagram. He's also a local shop teacher in South Florida. So I asked him, I reached out one day, I was like, do you have anyone that might be of use of this? And he right away knew a kid that just graduated that could get great use out of this, maybe starting a small business on his own. So I was able to go down there and donate that to him. So that was a nice bonus that came out of me working with the company. So
nice.
There you go.
So what's on the agenda for the next big project that you got coming up?
Dang, I was hoping you didn't ask me that one, because I got to be honest. And it's at least we're at the end of the podcast. I don't want to bring anyone down, but my father-in-law passed this week on Monday. So I plan to make him a memorial box. I don't do wood turning, so I'm not going to do like a wood turning urn, but it's going to be some sort of memorial box for an urn. My wife and mother-in-law asked me to do that. So that's going to be one of those custom one-off projects that I'll have to go to YouTube University to figure out how I want to do that. But I want to put a lot of time and effort and make sure I really do that one right. So.
Cool.
Hope I didn't bring anyone down, but it's going to be a nice project.
Well, our thoughts to your family.
They'll be proud of it. They'll be proud of your box.
I appreciate that.
Bryan, if you could probably quickly answer this, I don't know if you can, but somebody that's wanting to get into woodworking or whatever, what would you say to get to start off? Tool. Let's just go with tool wise. What would be the, let's see, top 3 things that you would need, that you would suggest?
Well, my first advice is just start making it. Jake kind of alluded to that when I was mentioning my camera, and I want to make sure I wasn't saying that you had to have a nice camera or nice tools. By that means, just start making. Don't wait till you have to save up to get that track saw when the circular saw is $30. You know, so Harbor Freight, I would go there. If you're on a budget, you want to get started, you need a drill. You're woodworking, so you need a saw, circular saw. Jeez. And a dust collector? No.
Get one from you.
They sell them.
Yeah, I don't know. A miter saw is very, very useful. That's maybe a little bit pricier, but that's a very useful tool as well. So something like that.
Cool. Cool deal. Well, Bryan, I appreciate you taking the time out to hang out with us. It was a pleasure. A lot of good tips, a lot of good information here at this time. If you have anything coming up, let the listeners know what's coming up built by Bricker.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me. When Joey asked me, I was a little nervous to come on, but Joey's always been such a great guy, so I would gladly do anything for him. So I appreciate you guys for being all so kind for us too. So yeah, just go ahead and follow me over on YouTube. That'll probably be my most thing I'm trying to grow at the moment. I gotta have more videos coming soon. I have shorts posted every day to drop for the next 3 weeks. So at least you'll get some content on there every day, and then hopefully some longer form videos coming soon.
Cool deal.
Nice. Jen.
Oh, what do I have coming up? I have at least one show a month scheduled through the 4th quarter, and so I'm just getting ready for all of that fun stuff.
Dang. That's busy. Matthew?
I just got done shooting. Got to do the editing, but the shooting of the V unboxing for a stabilizing or a vacuum pot and the vacuum to go with it, since I had to get rid of mine. And then the stabilization, the whole process going through it, and from beginning to end. So that's what I got.
Deal.
I said don't tell the kids you're at SeaWorld until you're there in the parking lot, but I was thinking about re-editing the Dragon Egg video and then putting it out, and then put out shorts for that and try that. But don't hold me to it, because I'll be a liar. So, Saturday, we'll have Saturday morning cartoons. We're going to have some cool stuff and give some stuff away. So come and see us on Saturday morning cartoons. There you go.
Cool deal. I'm trying to get back in the shop, get some stuff going, if time permits. Waiting on a new tool to drop in here. Well, let's just say a couple of them. But we'll get some stuff out on that. In the meantime, next week, please remember to go check out iTunes and leave us a review. We need 10 stars, 10
of them. 10.
And make sure you go and follow Bryan on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all of the platforms that he's on. We've got all the links down below. Make sure you go give him a follow. He does some very cool things. But by that, next week, same time, same place, same beautiful faces. And we're going to get on out of here. Thank y'all, everybody. Y'all have a good evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.